Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 14th now in our monthly workshop series on the ForeFlight EFB. My name is Mike Jesh. I'm a flight instructor in the Southern California area, and while I fly big jets for work, I come here and I love flying the little airplanes. This is where the real fun is. So before we get started, just a couple quick notes. A reminder that if you came here for wings credit and you're watching live tonight on June 3rd, you don't need to do a thing. The wings credit will be granted automatically in a couple of days. Brian's usually pretty good about that, gets it taken care of usually by Wednesday. But be nice to him, give him till Friday. And if you haven't gotten your credit by that point, then shoot us a quick email at foreflightworkshops.com at gmail.com and we'll take care of you. If you're watching the recording either on Social Flight or if you watch the YouTube link, there will be a quiz. Toward the end of that, there will be a link to take the quiz, and then once you complete that quiz, give us again a couple of days after that, we'll get you the credit from that. So Brian and I have been talking for quite a while that we've been so busy, we've been having a hard time keeping up with the Q&A that many of you have been sending us. So tonight we're going to transfer into a Q&A format. We're going to take a bunch of the Qs and we're going to AM tonight. And we know if one person is asking that question, it's very likely that somebody else is too. So we're going to take some of these live tonight. And anything else that you throw in the Q&A, we'll try to get that taken care of as well. So the man who needs no introduction tonight, Captain Brian Schiff, welcome to the party.
Thanks, Mike. Am I muted, by the way? Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. Appreciate you showing up for yet another ForeFlight workshop. It's so good to be here. So great to have you guys. We're just thrilled with how popular this has gotten, and the stuff that we're able to teach. I am learning more by teaching this workshop than I think anybody could possibly learn about this app, and I'm sure the same with you, Mike. We get questions, and we have to go looking up the answers half the time. A lot of times they're very good questions. I also keep an eye on the ForeFlight Workshops group on Facebook, and sometimes guys post things, and there are other experts in there that are posting answers as well. So this workshop format where we're listening to you, we're letting you contribute, this has really been beneficial to a lot of people, and we're getting a lot of success. But it takes a village. It's not just me and Mike. We've also got Bob and James McKay in the background helping and answering questions. Hey guys.
Howdy.
If you've been here before, we have a lot of new attendees, so we're going to maybe repeat a few things as we go. I've also, I'm going to do this. Hey Siri, wake me up at 8:20 p.m. Central Time. Okay, my alarm's set, so we're not going to run long. I got an alarm that's going to go off here, and it's going to keep us from doing that. We'll take a short break somewhere in the middle, so about 90 minutes of this. Like Mike said, we got so far behind on a lot of the questions, and some of them are so good. They're like, why don't we just share this with everybody and do a special frequently asked questions presentation? So that's kind of what we're doing tonight. So without further ado, before we actually get started, I want to launch a poll. We do get a lot of feedback from people who, and this is a complicated part of this whole thing, is knowing there are 3 plans that you can have for ForeFlight: the basic, the pro, and the performance. And some people say, would you quit showing all the performance stuff? I don't have that. I'm not paying for it. I don't want to do it. And I'd like to know who our audience is, so we're just going to throw a poll out there. ForeFlight says that the most popular prescription plan is the Pro Plus, and looking at the poll results come in, it looks like the Pro is the most popular. You get the most bang for the buck, and then you really do get some fantastic new features with the Performance Plus, but it looks like it's spread pretty evenly. We'll share that shortly here. So I would like to show some features from all the plans. Obviously, if I show something that's in the Basic Plus, it's going to be in all the plans, but I don't want to limit it to that. I have come up with a way to at least put on the screen which plan it is. I'm going to show that with you later, some flags that I made to say, okay, what we're talking about is in this plan or that plan. So I think we got a pretty good consensus there. If you want to go ahead and end that and share the results, you'll see.
About 75% of participating here, and here are the results. So yeah, just as you said, almost half of us have a Pro Plus level subscription. And then the performance kind of just barely edges out, about a third of us on the Performance Plus and about a quarter on the basics. So if you have a basic, We talk about all of them, and the one problem is it's hard for us in the moment to remember which
Yeah.
subscription level a feature applies to. So,
We'll do our best, and the odds are if we're talking about something and you don't see it, it's probably not part of your plan. But there's also some features that I noticed that someone said, well, I have the performance plan and I don't see that. Well, as it turned out later, you need to have JEPs also to be able to see certain things. So that's also a factor. But we're going to do our best to try to spread it around. So, all right.
yep.
I'm going to clear that off my screen. And if you guys are ready to start typing away, I'll take over and we'll start talking about ForeFlight workshops. We'll,
All right, Brian, you have the aircraft.
all right, my aircraft. Let's see if I can. I'm also, speaking of having the aircraft, when you see me look off to my right, I'm changing scenes and doing some things back here that I am bound to screw up. But you know what? It's not about production. It's about talking ForeFlight. So let's go on here. So tonight we're going to have some giveaways toward the end. They're listed here and they were going in the pre-roll, but I just wanted to show it. Very special thanks to Finer Points and Gold Seal, especially for 2 lifetime courses, NAFI for a membership, Ultimate Logbook. I'm going to show you some pages from that, and of course a book from my favorite flight instructor as well. The disclaimer, we're not affiliated with ForeFlight. We don't receive anything from ForeFlight. We're just experienced ForeFlight users sharing our knowledge and experience and giving back to the industry. And these are our practices, the things we share with you. It's incumbent upon you as a pilot to ensure that you don't violate FARs and that you maintain the highest level of safety. So just because we say it, don't take it for granted. Look it up. If there's any questions and you think we got something wrong, be sure to pass that on to us as well. As of now, we're still using Zoom. It costs a fortune. This Zoom account renews in July. So we're going to get at least one more in with Zoom. If I renew it, we'll keep going. I think we're pretty happy with our beta test. We're spending thousands of dollars on that. Truly do appreciate if you want to throw a few bucks our way. If you like what you see, feel free to contribute. Anything that goes above and beyond our expenses, we're going to donate to like an aviation foundation fund or a scholarship fund or something like that. But we'd like to keep doing this and at least not out of pocket. We just want to at least break even. And if we can profit and pass those on to some people learning to fly in the form of scholarships, we're thrilled to do that. You can find that on our website. Again, there are 3 plans: the basic, the pro, and the performance. And you can see the price difference is significant. But I just want to point out that if you're a member of NAFI, the National Association of Flight Instructors, you do get a 33% discount. And you can join NAFI for only $49. So you can save $120 or more if you get the JEPs and their other add-ons. You can save even more than that, and it only costs you $49 to do so. Plus the added benefit of being a NAFI member. And you do not need to be a flight instructor to be a NAFI member or to benefit from a lot of the great stuff that NAFI has to offer. Again, this program is not affiliated with NAFI, but Bob and myself both happen to be on the board, and so we like to talk about it just a little bit. If you hear us talking about it, that's what it is. As we get on to the iPad itself, there's always new iOSs coming out. It seems like every day it's the iOS du jour. Right now 17.5.1 is the latest, and iPad operating system and the operating system for the iPhone as well. We're going to have to start checking compatibility with the Androids also when ForeFlight becomes available for those devices as well. But for now, the ForeFlight has come out with the all clear. A great website for seeing that is iPadPilotNews.com. They have a lot of great content for operating the iPad and seeing this compatibility checker as well. As far as your questions and answers, we're getting lots of them and they're great. Please send them in to us. Watch our website. We are still going to have this dedicated page, but because I'm so far behind in setting up this page, we are conducting this frequently asked questions session tonight to kind of make up for not having that web page up. And this is giving you the material that you asked for anyway. So watch for that on our website. Feel free to submit your questions, comments, even your tips and tricks. We've gotten some really good stuff. Some of the stuff that we present, you might hear it came from you as we present it. If you'd like us to give you credit, of course, you could feel free to say so. Please mention my name and we'll be happy to do that. Again, Zoom for one more month at least. If you want to get signed up for a beta test, we'll probably run one more beta test. We've done 2. two different kind of ways. And we've had a lot of great feedback from you guys, really helping in what is important and what is not. So if you scan that, you can sign up, or just go to ForeFlight Workshops and you can look for the link for the beta test. There'll probably be one more in the next month, and then we'll probably go to where all you have to do is go to the website at the right time, and no Zoom, no nothing. We'll just have a very simple, high quality stream to teach our content with and save a lot of money at the same time. Tonight we're going to talk about what's new. We'll get into the frequently asked questions we promised you. We'll give our giveaways, and then we'll, if we have time, we'll get some live questions and tips and tricks and see what you guys have to offer for tonight. But for now, let's take a look at what's new in ForeFlight. That's always the plan du jour. There's always something new in ForeFlight. It's really tough to keep up with it. Some of the things I've had time to look up, other things I have not, but you can always look in toward the back of the book and see the change summary, which this month has an error in it. I actually presented live last weekend, and for those of you on board here, and I know you're here from Denton where I presented, I thought I'd made a mistake and pulled the wrong month up, but no, lo and behold, they just put a typo in there they put 2023. But these are the new features, the file size limitation for content packs. You can now upload some pretty large content packs as long as your ForeFlight has your iPad has room for it. Added this wake turbulence feature we'll take a look at. I'm not quite sure what it means by ground vehicles now show up on runway alerts. So if anybody knows that, maybe put it in the Q&A. Maybe one of the guys on board
Brian,
here.
I can tell you, for those that have ADS-BX or ADS-X surveillance on the airport surface, now that those vehicles will show up and provide alerts.
Do they have transponders? How do those vehicles?
Yeah, so at Class Charlie and Bravo airports, they have transponders.
Yeah, so I know on the back of the jet plate, it says what airports have ADS, ADXE. What,
yep, ASDX.
ASDX. How do you spell that? The ground surveillance radar. It's the ones we used to have our transponders on. So I guess at this point, those ground vehicles at those airports now will have transponders. Is that right?
Yeah, I ran into this when I was in Midway a month
Interesting.
ago. And there was a vehicle moving. It says a collision alert. And I was like, what?
Wow. Interesting. Well, I'm eager to see that. I'm going to try and record that sometime and share it. If anybody, you get some videos of that, send it to us. I mean, I hope you're not on final when there's something on the runway, but if it happens and you happen to record it, shoot it our way. So what we've got, the aeronautical map drawer, this is not new in the latest change, but it's worth sharing with those of you who are new to our webinar. Basically, there's new drawer and modes that you select on the side panel. And basically, if we take a look at the left side, when we have the aeronautical layer selected, there's a settings, it's a filter settings. It looks like the 3 slider bars for the settings. I think they call it filters. And when you tap on that, another column of settings will pop out, another menu bar, and you can choose what you want to show on the screen with that. But down at the bottom, you see it says high IFR, low IFR, and VFR. So there's basically 3 save modes of the settings. You can have IFR settings are different from VFR settings. So depending on how you're flying that day, you can save the settings in like basically 3 different batches of settings. The quick filter buttons there just turn things on and off: airports, airspace, intersections, nav aids, airways, and so on. Again, there's the 3 modes that you can select, and whatever settings you save for VFR will stay in the VFR settings. Like I will turn off intersections and airways for VFR, and for low IFR, I might turn off some of the VFR things. So that's your choice, and it's customizable, and it's kind of nice to be able to switch back and forth. Once you're on that bar, the 3 dots down below is, hey, there's more here. That you can tailor the map elements for each mode by tapping on those 3 dots, and then you're going to get a lot more settings. That menu will time out. It's got an auto dismiss timer up top, and of course you can set that as well, so that menu will slide out of the way after that timer completes the circle there. The other thing that's the new airspace settings are in there as well, so you can more customize the airspace settings that are in there. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger for you. You can hone it down to what you want. It's just refining the airspace on and off, what's more pertinent to you. that's kind of handy as well. The wake turbulence alerts are brand new this month. I have not seen this in action and I haven't tried it. I'm going to be very cautious about it until I see it. Obviously, I'd rather have a warning than not, but still you've got to determine, where that is. I'm not sure how the algorithm works in ForeFlight to determine where it is, or if it accounts for wind, or whatever. But in any case, it's kind of neat. It looks like a fantastic thing to have because that invisible monster seems to be ignored by a lot of pilots. But it's going to show you if you're approaching the path where a heavy aircraft was. And it's going to show you, I think, only aircraft that are your category, that are higher than your category of aircraft. So if you're a light aircraft and a large or heavy go by, it's going to show you this if you have it turned on. And as you get closer, it's going to kind of show you where your path intersects it. Again, I want to learn what the algorithm is doing to calculate that before I pass judgment on it. You have to have it turned on to get the warning, and that's if you go to the settings and search for alerts, you'll see all the oral alerts on there. And in the new updated version, you'll need to turn that wake turbulence alerts on in order to see that. So I'd appreciate any feedback if anybody has seen that in action yet. That would be cool. Also this month, we have some new VFR add-on charts. If you're flying in the Middle East or South Africa, they've added some additional charts for that area as well. The track log maps have actually changed. I don't know if it's just the web version or if I think it's also on the iPad. The lot more parameters that you can actually show in the track log, especially if you have an external device like the Stratus or external AHRS that records that kind of data with a flight data recorder. The Stratus 2 I know has it with fantastic granularity. So you can do a lot more analyzing of your track logs as well. The daily weather, now this is not new in ForeFlight, but it's new to me, is I learned that at the bottom of the daily weather chart, there's a little bar with all the colors on it, and that kind of shows you it's with ForeFlight's color coding, pink being bad, worse than red, red being worse than blue, blue being worse than green, and so on. You can kind of see by looking at that on that timeline where more of the good weather is going to be. And I didn't know that was there, so that's new to me. I thought I'd pass that on to you. Also new to me was, and I've seen this before but took it for granted, was if you look at your plates and you see it saved, that means it's on your iPad, and without internet you'll be able to see it. So just another neat little feature that they have on there, the download status. All right, jumping to it, we'll get into tonight's frequently asked questions. I'll do some, Michael hack out a few, Bob might get some, and we might even need James to help us with some of them, but then we'll take a look at some of the live ones as well. But I'm going to look at the ones that you've been sending in and via email. These are the flags I promised that I'm going to try to put these on the screen whenever I'm talking about a feature that is only in that subscription plan. So obviously if we have Performance Plus, it's that and everything below it. If I show Pro, you got to have at least Pro to have it. In any event, I'm going to try to use those and put them on the screen when needed. As it turns out, I've only got them on one slide for today, but we'll try and do that more often. So one of the questions, Stephen B asked, I was planning a flight and the briefing looked different and far inferior. What happened? Did I do something wrong? No, Stephen, you didn't do something wrong. And he may already have this answer because he sent this in a while ago. But for this, I'm going to go ahead and go to the iPad and show you that when you have a flight plan in flights, and let's say I just picked one here on the top here, and I get my briefing. This is probably what he looked at, and he said, this is not the one I normally see. And I'm looking at a page that I can scroll through, and it looks a lot different, and it's not the one where I can step through all the flight plans. Well, there are two different kinds of flight plans. There are the graphical HTML and there's graphical PDF. So they're both going to show up on the iPad, but you need to select which one you want to use. So back to the iPad here, what you've got to do is go to the More and Settings and search for Briefing. As I start typing it, there it is, Briefing Format. Tap on that, and you can see we got HTML and PDF. What is selected is PDF. In other words, this is like a PDF file. You could print this one if you wanted to. The other one is more like a website. So I'm going to select that and go back out of here, close the settings. And now if I try to get the briefing, you'll see that the same thing shows up. And we've showed this before, but I know that, again, we have a lot of people on here, and this still seems to be a problem, at least with some students with whom I've spoken. You just need to change one little thing, like change your ETD to 9:05 a.m. and close it. Now we've changed something, so we need a new briefing. Now that you've changed the time and you've reselected the new format, tap on the briefing button now, and it's going to go retrieve a brand new briefing. Now you're going to see, here it comes, the format that you might be accustomed to, where you have everything listed on the side here, and you're going to step through it by clicking on what's next. Next is synopsis. Next is METARs. Next, and you can see you can scroll through the METARs, but that's all you get until you go to the next section. Again, an orange dot here means there's something you haven't read in that section, or something new, something has changed. So you can always update it, and you will get alerts from ForeFlight. I'm going to talk about that in a second if something changes to your flight. Anyway, those are the two different formats. They're in settings. There's a graphical, and there's an HTML. So the next question was, Robert H. said, when a PIREP coincides with an airport, and I tap on it, I get the airport, not the PIREP. How can I see the PIREP? Now, I kind of saw what he was talking about. I took a look that day, and I saw, well, look at that. There's a PIREP just sitting right on top of DFW, and you can see there's both the airport info, there's the PIREP info, there's the airport info. How do you select the one that you want? Well, it's a little bit of a problem that they both happen to be in the same place, but I guess it snaps to the location where the PIREP was made. It's overhead DFW airport, so that's where it is. The best way to get off of that is to turn the aeronautical layer off, and because when you touch on the aeronautical layer, well, let me just go to the iPad here, and you can see the airports here, and if I were to touch on an airport in the aeronautical layer, I'll just tap on that airport, and the airport data shows up. But if we're on a sectional, turn the sectional on and the aeronautical off, if I tap on the airport, nothing happens. That's only the aeronautical layer. I'm tapping on it right here, and nothing is happening. Now, I can tap and hold, and that puts a little green circle where I tapped and held, and it shows me all the airspace. If I click on all down here at the bottom of the drawer that popped out, it's going to show me everything that is at that spot, starting with the latitude, longitude, the airspace above that spot, nearby intersections, and there's the airport. If you want to filter it down to just the airport, you can tap airports right here, and it'll filter those out at the bottom here, and then you can tap on Midland International, and it just shows that airport right on the center of the map. Tapping it now brings up the airport info. You can pull up the weather, the information for the airport, or whatever. The node, let's see if we can find one right now real quick that has, if I put PIREPs on here and aeronautical layer on and the VFR sectional off, if we have any airports with PIREPs over them, I don't quite see one now. I'm sure there's one somewhere, but that's the problem, is when they report it right overhead an airport on ForeFlight, it shows up on the aeronautical map layer. So the trick is just get off the aeronautical map layer, or tap and hold near that area. Just tap and hold, and you will get a list of everything near that green dot. Click on airports, and you can get the airport information.
Right, Brian,
Yep.
You can recreate. There's got to be a PIREP over a VOR. You can recreate the same thing, just trying to get the VOR data.
Yeah, I was looking. I didn't. It's if I put the VORs on.
Oh, they're right there, down at what's ML something to the south east there.
Right here, yeah, exactly. So over Monroe Regional, looks like the PIREP is over the VOR. So if I tap right here, I get the PIREP. But if I turn PIREPs off, is there a VOR right there?
I think so.
Yeah, it is right over the VOR. So if you wanted to tap on the VOR, you'd have to turn the PIREPs off. Know that it's a problem. Know that it's an issue. Now I've got the VOR tab there. So if it's over a VOR or an airport, you just got to watch out for that. Just turn the aeronautical map layer off and go back to sectional, or bottom line, have the aeronautical map layer off is the bottom line of that one. All right, let's see what we got next. Let's see. Please review how to affect the vertical profile on the flight plan profile view. I'm trying to step climb to stay beneath Clap Bravo airspace. This came up last weekend. I was fighting with this as well, and I'm sure that it's going to fail me now as well as I go through this. I will show this on the iPad. This is again is Pro Plus and higher. This is the kind of way I'll try to show this from now on. If you have the basic, you're not going to see this in your features. So I'm going to go back to the iPad, and I'm going to go to flights just to get one of my recent flights on the map. I'll just go up here and I'll hit the recent favorites button. And here's what I was trying to teach. No, I'm going to do a different one. I'm going to do, let's see, those are recents. Let's go to favorites and let's just do one that I was doing last weekend. Let's see. That's not it either. I know I had it on here. Oh, there it is. This is the route I wanted to put. And this is what I was trying to teach, and where we're climbing out of Denton, going to the southeast to Gregg County Airport. I wanted to put points where I could cross at different altitudes here as I go underneath the rings of the Class Bravo airspace and then step my climb up. And that's what the questioner was talking about. And if I go to the flight plan drawer, and then over here to profile, misspoke there, you can create these steps like this. And the way to do that is to first put your cruising altitude in. Actually, I think it was 5,500 feet. This is the problem. If you put 5,500 feet in there, I'll put 6,000. And then I put a crossing altitude here. It tries to go up to the cruising altitude and then start a descent back down to cross that point right there at that altitude. And maybe James, if you can help out with this one, that would be cool. Or either you guys know, if I put my initial cruising altitude there, 2,500, then I can get the step. Now what I've chosen here at this point, I can expand it and I can tap right here, and you can see that I put start the climb to 3,500 at that altitude. And that's what I did. So at this fix, we will start a climb to 3,500. At this fix, right here, we will start a climb, or there's no change. So we're just going to stay at 3,500 feet. At some point, I could go on up to my cruising altitude. I'm just not sure why. I've been fighting with the profile of why it wants to go right on up to the cruising altitude, even though if I put in here, or this point here, I tap on that point and I want to cross it at 3,500 feet, well, it will, but it's going to climb up to my cruise altitude. The only way I've found to work around that is to start at the initial level off altitude right here. You can file a different altitude, but in the profile view, you want to put your first altitude right here. Let's put 2,500 feet. And you can see it's going to stay below the Bravo airspace. Here, because I put cross at 35, it's starting up and it's kind of nipping the corner there. But anyway, it's a handy feature. You're not going to navigate with this, but it's good for planning if you have step climbs that are going to be significantly different and it might affect your fuel burn. I'll put start a climb at that point. Now we're going to start climbing at that point, stay underneath the shelf of Bravo airspace. That's what the question was. It's a neat feature if managed properly. I'm going to come back to this when we talk about a future question in descents. So when I select a point, I do not have a choice of lat-long format. How do I turn on the option to get these other formats? Also, can I get a readout of my present position without having to put my finger on the airplane? So first of all, what he's talking about is if I want to know what the lat-long of a point is, and I just tap and hold right here, for example, and I put, ForeFlight put the green circle right there where I tapped and held. This is the lat-long of that point. Then if you go to the right of that and tap more, you can copy it. You can hit direct to that point, add to the route, save it as a new waypoint, or copy it. So you tap on copy and you get all these different formats. And this is the MGRS, which I think is the Military Grid Reference System, if I remember correctly. The only ones that I use are these top three. There's different formats. It's degrees, dot, decimals of degrees. There's degrees, minutes, and then decibel of the minutes, or there's degrees, minutes, and seconds. Well, you can copy it in any of those formats. And if you go ahead and,
Brian,
Yep.
I'm getting feedback from panelists is saying they can't see your FAQ slide. And I'm not seeing it on my other
Oh, you
the
mean-
live webinar.
oh, I see. Let me
I can
stand.
see it for ours, but I couldn't see it on the
Yeah,
live.
let me reset the link here. The iPad went blank on me. How about now? You see the iPad now?
Yes.
Okay, so let me go back to that. You tap and hold, you get a green dot. Here's the location. There's the lat long. Tap on more. These are your options. Then you tap on copy, and now you can copy it in any one of these formats. If I tap on copy right here, it's copied that format of this position. And then I could go to Google Earth or wherever I want, and I could just paste it wherever I wanted to paste it, but it copied it to the clipboard. So that's how you copy it. The other part of the question is a good one. How do I see my current lat long? And that might be a case where you want to know where you're going to cross a certain degree of latitude or longitude. So you can tap on the instrument panel. I'll go ahead and put that on the screen, which is right here. Now I've got the instrument panel at the bottom, which is showing me all these fields. One of the things I can choose to put here is my current latitude, longitude, and that's how you can see where you are right now. This is the next course. Let's say I'm not really interested in that. I'm going to tap and hold that. Now I can choose what I want to put in that field. And you can see up top, I'll start at the top, it shows standard. These are all the standard things that come with it. And then you can go down to next waypoint, and it's going to show ETE, ETA, distance, all these things that have to do with your next waypoint. Destination shows you all the information to your destination. Other, current coordinates. That's the one we're asking about. So I'm going to select that. And now we can see the current coordinates right there. But I don't want to, have anybody set their bombs to go to that lat long, because that's where I am right now. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off, and we're going to go to the next question. So let's go back to the screen here. And question, how do I program a radial out of a VOR or fix into my route? And that's a good question. For that, again, we'll go to the iPad, and this time we'll try and make it so you can see it. Here's the iPad. I'm going to go ahead and turn on these quick filters. I'm going to turn off everything but VORs just to make this easy to see. We'll turn the terrain off, we'll VFR. So here we've got, I'm going to clear my route as well. Well, I'll leave a route in there, that's fine. So let's say at some point I'm going to go direct to Bonham VOR. I'm going to tap on it, and we'll say direct to. That's going to go direct to Bonham. Now I want to go outbound on the 086 degree radial. How do I do that? I think that's what they're asking. So I go to the flight plan, and what I want to do is edit the flight plan, and then tap on the VOR in question, and then I get a menu. On that menu, I see insert after Bonham. Well, what do I want? That's where I want to go, somewhere after Bonham. Now, bear in mind, a VOR you can track outbound. With GPS, and that's what this is, GPS based, you need to track towards something, or you need to track a course. Well, if I tap insert after Bonham, you can put locations or an airway. I can put home. I can put any of the intersections. But the other thing that you want to put is a format. And if you forget the format of putting the radial in there, and I'm going to put the VOR / radial / distance. So I'll put BYP / I forgot what radial. Let's say it was a 088 / I'm just going to put 50 miles out. And then I'm going to insert that. And so we'll just put the 088 radial 50 miles out. It just put a fix there, so it drew the line and connected them. If you forget that format, you can go to this global search window up here, right up here in the search bar, tap in it, and just scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can see some formats. It gives you some ideas of what you can search for. And you can see right here, an airport with the VOR / 321R or radial. You don't have to put the R in. And /30, which is a 30-mile fix out on the 321 radial. I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, if you forget the format, it's down here. That's the bottom line. So then from that point, you can put destination in there. But that's how you draw radial out, and you can do that out as far as you want. It's good for instrument training. If you're an instrument instructor, you can teach people to fly out a radial, and you can watch how well they're doing that, put holding patterns at that point as well. You can tap on that point that you created and tap on more and tap on hold, and you can create a holding pattern right there as well. Just a little bonus info. Good for instrument instruction. All right, go back to my screen here, and let's see what we got else. We got how can I program the missed approach procedure, including the holding pattern, into my route? Okay, so that's a good question. You're flying IFR, and you plan a flight from A to B. Well, first of all, I'm going to give you some caveats. One, don't navigate with the iPad. I think because this kind of, I get the feeling the person wants to use the iPad to fly the missed approach procedure. That may not necessarily be the case. I can see some other reasons for putting it in. You might want to have a better fuel plan, or the total miles you're going to fly, or the total time, and get it calculated, including the missed approach, so you have fuel planning. That makes sense. I totally get that. I can see wanting to do that, but you don't want to navigate with the iPad. Secondly, the missed approach is a very stressed time. You need to use your IFR approved avionics to fly it. I'm okay with putting it in here for planning. That's my caveat. ForeFlight will only plan the approach, or your path to the missed approach point, including an approach. So that said, you can manually build the missed approach after that point. So if I were going to, let's just put in 2 airports to here, I'm going to go to the iPad, and we're going to Denton Airport, and I'm going to, first of all, I want to put the approach in there. So let's go to the flight plan, and we have the procedure advisor, and let's just say I'm going to fly an approach. I want the ILS to 18. Since I'm online and ForeFlight knows the winds, it's saying they're landing south. You can see that right here. I'll choose the ILS to 18 with vectors to final, and I'm going to add that to my route. Now you can see it put that in the route. It also put the plate on the map, and that's, again, for the Pro plan or higher. If you have the basic, you won't see that. But it doesn't have the missed approach. So at this point, I'm just going to put in there, there's a missed approach point here, and you're supposed to go out to the CVE 314 at 32 DME. Now we can put that in there. We can sort of build it. I chose a bad one to build with, but we can put that in there like this. I can put the next fix at the end after the approach. Let's see, did I add that to the route? I don't see it on there. Yeah, ILS, and then the airport is in there. So I can insert after this, insert after the approach, CVE. That just gets the VOR on there. We're not going to go there, but I want to put that radial. Looks like it's almost lined up with that, but then I want to put the CVE after this, insert after. I want to put the CV, the Cowboy. I can't see the radial. The Cowboy 314 at 32 miles. The CVE, oh, don't want it there either. Well, I can move it. CVE 314 at 32 miles. There's the format. I hit enter. It went to that point, but I don't want it after the airport. So I'm just going to take this airport, drag it over here to the end. Actually, I'll leave it there like that for now. Then I want to build a holding pattern at CVE, which is this point right here at Odine. You could also put CVE and then Odine. So right after CVE, I could put in insert after and ODEN. Did I spell it right? Nope, I didn't. Drag it off of there. Insert after. ODEN, insert, and it did the same thing. I can take this off. Now I can tap on that point and go to more, hold 1, and look, it knows that there's a published hold right there at Odine. And so I'm going to set up as published. Tip this right here and add to route, and there's the holding pattern with the entry and everything. What it's doing after that, though, I have the VOR there. Now, after this missed approach point at the airport, we're not going to go to the VOR. We're going to turn and intercept that radial. So again, you can't navigate with this, but you've sort of got it going the right way, and you can kind of use that for planning, and you can build it. Again, not meant for that kind of purpose. So I just want to throw that out there. Yeah.
Can I jump in for a minute, Bob?
Yeah.
Here's why I think ForeFlight doesn't do it as explicitly as I think the user wanted. The difficulty on this approach is reading this plate. is that, and I'm looking at the NOA version of the plate.
Of this plate?
Yeah, the first move on the mist is a climb to 2,500.
Right, and that's why I wanted to navigate with that. You got to go to an altitude. That's why I said I chose a poor one for this example.
No, you picked a great one because if you turn right away, I have no idea what the obstacles are there, but if you turn right away towards Odine without climbing to 2,500 first, I bet you're going to have a real bad day.
Well, they have you climbing to 2,500 before turning for a reason.
That's right. That's my point.
And here's something here. I mean, there's who knows what's there, but you're not protected. So that's a very good point you raise. This one says climb to 2,500 feet, then make a right turn.
Because
There we go.
I can tell you from personal experience, I've been in the tower cab at Spirit of St. Louis witnessing this. If you make the turn right after going mist at Spirit, you go right through the tower cab.
Yeah.
You've got to climb to, I forget what the altitude is, I won't say it.
Yeah, well, in this case, you want to be sure you look at that. Climb to 2,500 feet, then a right turn. And even the, if you look at the abbreviated part, it's up to 2,500, then a right turn, direct.
Yeah.
And that you've got to be sure you pay attention to that, brief it, and visualize that, obviously. We may have some VFR pilots here, so you guys are getting bored right now. But
at the end of the day, it's this. I suspect ForeFlight isn't showing that because they don't know the climb performance of your airplane. So they can't tell you where to turn.
yeah, it'd be a huge liability issue for them to show it. If you wanted to build it and plan it, there's a number of ways to do it. Obviously, you're not going to make it out to that VOR. So could I delete that at this point? Probably, but you need to make sure you get to the altitude first. I appreciate you bringing that up, Bob. That's a huge, huge, huge thing to be aware of. You can't just build a route in here and then fly it. So good point. All right, let me see if I can get back to the screen here. So the answer was you got to build it manually. Here we got a question that we're going to get to Mike on this one, but the question was about packed data. Does it update, and how do I delete it?
Sure, why not?
All right.
I have a whole little dissertation on packing stuff, and first, what I'll start with is, do you have the right thing showing? You have
think
to.
so.
You have to get the other one, the one that says it's not the iPad, because that's the iPad one.
That one?
There you go.
iPad? Okay.
Right. So, anytime I'm talking about anything to do with aviation, I always like to go to the original source, and we've talked about this a little bit before. One of the documents you really need to have installed on your iPad is at least this one. That it's in the documents folder. And if you scroll down here in the catalog to the ForeFlight drive, there'll be a bunch of documents in there. In my opinion, they should all have a green check mark by it, but the one that you should at least have is this one. This is the A1, the ForeFlight Mobile Pilot's Guide. You really ought to have this document installed so that you've got a reference manual for all the features in ForeFlight. So if you open this document...
I'm sorry, yeah, just to make it, I want to try and put this... make it big and clear on there, the ForeFlight, and there's the Documents tab, and then you can see that. I'm not sure if it was fuzzy for everyone or just on my screen, but your image of your iPad was a little bit blurry.
Yeah,
and
it
again,
was better last time. I'm not sure what happened here.
It'll probably
month,
catch up. We'll go back to it again here.
That was the eye test. So you need reading glasses now, Brian, is what they're trying to say.
Probably, yeah. It's because that monitor is so far away from me right now. Anyway, go ahead.
So we've gotten a ton of questions, and I constantly see questions online, and I get questions on this when I'm teaching a live class, all about packed data in all sorts of different forms. But my go-to anytime I get something like this is this document, and in chapter 9, starts on page 175 in the document, is where the whole discussion on the pack menu, the packing, actually it's just a little bit before that, 9.6 on page 173 is where the whole discussion on pack begins. So the first thing I want to point out is that it says right in here, pack should be relied on as a secondary tool for flight planning. So particularly with regard to charts, so instrument approach charts, sectional charts, airport information, that sort of thing. I would not recommend that you rely on packing to have this data available. You really need to download it And I'll get to just a minute. I'll show you how to do that. But I just want to mention that you should download it preferentially to packing for the flight. The type of data and the amount of data that gets transferred in a pack or that gets downloaded to your iPad when you pack is going to depend on a couple of things. It's going to depend on what data you have selected. It's going to depend on the route that you have programmed in on your maps page there. And it's going to depend on which subscription level you have. If you have, like me, you have the Performance Plus level, you're going to have a fair amount more packed data that is going to transfer than if I have the basic level. So it's only going to pack the kind of data that you have told it in the download settings that you want. So if you tell it there that you're a VFR pilot, you just want VFR sectional charts and airport information, it's not going to download IFR data for you because you didn't tell it you wanted that. So keep that in mind. It's got to be set the right way. I'll show you in just a moment how to do that. And now, once you get the data on board, there isn't a way that you can just say, show me the packed data. What's going to happen is you're going to request to look at certain kinds of data, and the ForeFlight's going to look at it and say, well, is this something that I have a downloaded copy of it, or that I have an imagery that's transferred or data that's transferred? I'm going to show you current data if I can. If I don't have current data, then I'll go to the packed data if it's available. And if I don't have that, then it's going to try to go online through the ForeFlight servers and grab the data to show you. So you can't just say, show me the packed data. It comes in from somewhere else. There's 3 different places it comes from. It's either downloaded data, so installed on your iPad, or it's internet data that it can get from the ForeFlight servers when you're on the internet on the ground, or if you're in flight and you have some kind of ADS-B data source data source, it's going to show you that if it pertains to what you want to look for. So there's 2 places that you can find the packed data. If we go over to the maps page and we program in a little route, let me just put something in here. And I was flying by Manhattan, Kansas last night. So I went from Manhattan, let's say we're going to Minneapolis. So I put a route in there. And you notice the first thing that happens now when I program that route in is I got a little exclamation point by the suitcase here at the bottom of the flight plan drawer. So that's saying something in the route changed. I could download some packed data for you. So you click on that button, it brings up this packed menu. More on this in a little bit. And you can see that I've got 5 different types of data that it wants to download for me. Notice it's not talking about airport diagrams or procedures because I already have that downloaded and installed. But it's going to get the up-to-date comments, weather, airmets, SIGMETs, center weather advisories not included in that list. Also NOTAMs and TFRs. It's going to get fuel prices, NOTAMs, and so forth.
Hey, Mike?
Yes.
I'm just wondering if we transition to normal Zoom, I see some comments in the chat about the screen is almost unreadable, and it may be this Video Ninja thing. So in the interest of accuracy and not prettiness and being able, you want to just switch to straight Zoom?
Yeah, give me just a second here and
All right, bear with us, folks. I'll tell you what, we'll just take a few,
good time for a break.
Yeah, be a good time for a break. I'll switch it here. You should be able to share your screen, and we'll just switch to normal Zoom from this point.
Yeah. And Brian, there's some questions about aircraft performance that people have asked that I'd like to answer live, and I think that'd be the same thing for me too.
Okay, sounds good. Let's just stay on normal Zoom right now. Just bear with us, folks, as we switch over. Now, I think this should look better.
It looks better on my screen, but that's no promise.
Much better is what I'm seeing in the chat. All right, yeah, sorry about that, folks. I don't know why it was doing that, but we'll stick with this. I'd rather you guys be able to see it than have some pretty production going on here. Does that work for you, Mike?
I didn't even have time to do a potty break yet.
Well, I know. Well, I tell you, if you want to finish this topic, and then we'll do a break.
Oops. What did it do there? Yeah, sure. Let me. I'll hit the rest of it here real quick. So,
okay.
2 different places that you can accomplish a pack. This is the one here on the maps page. The other place you can do it is from the flights page. If we create a flight here and we program in a quick destination here, let's say I'm going to start in Vegas and I'm going to go to, let's say, Phoenix just for kicks. If you scroll down on this menu, there's a pack way down here, and you click that, it's going to bring you to a very similar kind of a pack menu. So the two places you can get to it, it doesn't matter how you get to it, the result's the same. It's going to bring up this list of the things it wants to download for this flight. So you can either download each individual item if you want, or you can download the whole kit and caboodle right here. And it tells me over on the left here that this is going to be 60 megabytes worth of data. So I'll usually pack at home before I leave for the trip. But if I'm on the road and I do an update, maybe I don't update the fuel prices because I'm already committed to wherever I'm going. I know what the price is there. I'm going to close my eyes and feed my credit card to the machine. So you can download the whole thing. It goes off to the ForeFlight servers, grabs the data. And again, it's not getting chart data because I already have that downloaded. 3D view aerial imagery is a Performance Plus level, as are digital ATIS and dynamic winds. For you basic level subscription holders, it's going to download AirMet, SIGMET's center weather advisories, NOTAMs, and fuel prices. And if you're in the middle of the road, the majority of our people here, it's going to add to that clouds, icing, surface analysis, and turbulence data. So that's how you get the data. And one of the things, another setting we want to take a look at here, by the way, is you click More and Settings. And if we filter here and just look for pack, you see the item here is Enable Auto Check. If you have this turned on, ForeFlight will automatically check when you've modified your route to see that you have an update to your pack. If you turn that off, it doesn't do that, so you'll have to manually do the pack yourself. It won't tell you that you need to do it. So I like it turned on. That's the way I run, and you probably like that way better too. So that's how you get the packed data, which now back to the kind of selection of data. If you come over here to the More and you click Downloads and click Data Settings. So this is where you tell it what kind of data you want to download. You can see that I've got everything turned on. I've got a great big iPad with tons of memory, so I just have everything I can turned on. But if you're a VFR only pilot, you probably don't have IFR low and IFR high. You don't care about the Oceanic charts. And you're not a helicopter pilot, you turn all these off, it's not going to download that data, whether you do the download here on the downloads page or if you do it on a pack. It's the same package of data it's going to give you. So we've got our pack data. And
someone just asked if you have to delete them manually or will they just go away by themselves?
Actually, that's the last section I'm going to talk about. The next
Okay.
one is how do you look at this pack data? So there really isn't a button that says show me the pack data. It's going to just, when you look at something, so let's say we turn on the overlay here, we're going to turn on AirMets, SIGMETs, and center weather advisories, and I want to look at icing SIGMETs and turbulence SIGMETs. When I tap these buttons, and so ForeFlight is now trying to show me this data. If I have the data installed on the iPad, it's going to show me that. If I don't have it installed on the iPad, it's going to go to the pack and look, did I have that data packed? And now in flight, if I've got a layer selected over here and I have ADS-B in data available, that data will be superseded by the ADS-B data, which is better, it's newer, it's fresher, so it's going to show me that. So it'll show you the ADS-B data if you have that. Or the pack data or the downloaded data, whichever is best. So the way to check that you got this downloaded data is after you're done planning your flight and you've done your pack, pull down from the upper, well, there's a couple ways to do it. I'll show you the way I like best. If you scroll onto your settings, you come here to General. You come right up here and turn Wi-Fi off. So now I don't have any internet connection on this iPad, and oops, not that one. Stop it. I want ForeFlight. I'm going to pull down some data over here, and let's say I want to look at radar. And a lot of you, I've seen a ton of iPads set up like this where I don't have access to live data. So instead you get these hash marks everywhere, and it says radar data not available. That's because it doesn't have the data on board and it doesn't have any way to get the data, so it's not going to show you anything. So
And
if
that
you're
you're
seeing-
asking for it. You're asking for the data and it's not there.
Right. So if you're seeing these hash marks and data not available, my suggestion is turn that off so it gives you a little bit cleaner look on your screen, or connect up to internet or ADSB or some other source of the data. So let me turn my internet back on again here so that I get data. So that's a good way also when you're done planning your flight, you're looking at airports, you're looking at, say, procedures, you look at an approach procedure and you can see the chart. If you're a person, maybe you don't have enough memory available on your iPad, so you do a pack before every flight looking to download this data. After you've done that, I suggest that you disconnect from the internet and then try to access this data and see if you still get it. Now, so we've looked at this data, we've gone on our flight, we can poke around and see it. How do we delete the data? And the data is deleted in a couple of different ways. One is when your flight's over with, if the data is obsolete or there's new data, live new data comes available, the old data is deleted and it shows you the new stuff. Once your device connects to the internet after a flight, the data will be automatically deleted. It talks about that back here to my document that I really like. Here's your how to pack menu, how that all works. You got your packed weather and NOTAM overview, so the kinds of data that's downloaded, what you've got in a pro tier subscription versus performance tier. This data is available in the profile view. We've talked about the profile view before, but you can look at this in flight, especially if you've got a source of ADSB in data on board in flight. And then we've got a section down here that's deleting packed data. So this tells you all about it, but basically, once you've connected to internet after the flight, the data is deleted. If you don't connect, the data is removed according to this schedule right here. So 3 hours after you land, the METARs are deleted. 12 hours after you land, the winds aloft data are deleted. Up to a little over a day later, the dynamic winds are deleted and so forth. So that's how things age out. If you want to manually delete any extra data, you're running short on space, you come over here to More, to Downloads, and Delete, and you can delete expired data, and this will delete any packed data that's still remaining on your iPad and make that space available for you. So that's what I've got on packing. I'm hoping that I touched all the bases there. I know Bob had a couple of elements he wanted to talk about packing as well, I think. So
No, you covered everything. The only thing I was going to add, excuse me, regarding packing is I'm constantly getting questions from student pilots about whether to get a cellular, if I could speak English, enabled iPad versus a web Wi-Fi only. Just understand that if you get a Wi-Fi only, you've got to have a way of getting to the internet. And that can be a little problematic out in the field. You know, you have to be able to tether to your phone or the Wi-Fi at the FBO or the Starbucks or wherever you're at. So just be aware of that. I personally also a non GPS or let me try it again. An iPad without a cellular chip does not have internal GPS in it, which is kind of okay. Since I use a Sentry, that's not a big deal either.
It's a nice backup to have another GPS, though.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you don't have to, and I will tell you this, you don't have to buy a cellular plan for your iPad. If you have if you have a cellular enabled iPad, you don't have to add it to your plan, but again, you're back to being dependent
Right.
on
It just has to be capable. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, sorry about that. I did have a friend who's an air traffic controller, commented that regarding the ASDE-X airports, that not all ground equipment is required to have the transponders. So the FAA can't mandate that they have it. So you need to be careful. If you see a warning that there's a ground equipment there, then it's probably there. But you also might have something there that doesn't have the transponder. There still could be equipment. So it's not a substitute for looking out the window and making sure. So I appreciate that. Thanks for that. In any event, so we left off with the pack. And Bob, do you have something that you wanted, some of the FAQs?
Yeah, a bunch of people were talking about performance and tweaking performance in ForeFlight. So if
Yeah.
so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Okay.
I hope I share the right thing here.
This ought to be good. I don't think
Close that
Bob
one
shared a
window
screen
first.
yet.
All right. So the question one, where people were asking about, I don't have my 206, I don't have this, I don't have that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I am very lucky. I own one of 10 aerobatic Bonanzas in the country. All right. And now you all know the tail number. You can all follow me around wherever I fly now. But anyway, I don't hide it. So anyway, basically what I did was I went in and built a profile, and I'll go back one screen. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new airplane. Okay. Missing tail number, all kinds of things, aircraft type, blah, 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 blah. But there's no default profile. So what you can do in here is start plugging in, add basic performance profile, and you can start plugging in all the numbers from the POH for the airplane. If you don't have, if ForeFlight isn't aware of the airplane, you can plug all this stuff in from the performance charts. Okay. So you come to this screen. So I'm going to go back one. You just add an aircraft. Yes, you'll need to add the tail number, so on and so forth. Because I fly on a major airline a lot that happens to own a lot of 737s, and it's not the airline you guys work for, I actually reverse engineered a 737 performance profile because I get bored in the back of the airliner.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy. That's right.
He's the one. I knew there was one.
So anyway, so my point is that somewhere in here I've got a generic 737 built with all the performance numbers for a 737 because I just want to follow along. It's a great way to practice using the tool.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it there. Yeah, so you just got to be real careful entering when you're putting in numbers manually that
Right.
it all comes out right. You know, if you put in, I get 111 gallons per hour instead of 11 gallons per hour. You know,
But
stuff
going
like
back to my own personal airplane. So
Yeah.
what I did here, because ForeFlight really doesn't know what an F-33 Charlie is because it's an oddball airplane. I went out and I built all this stuff. I added it, and it's a PDC. We can talk all about that again sometime. I went in and then I went into the performance.
It was up there.
Did I go by it?
Yep.
Help me out here. Which way do I need to go here? I'm
A
going
little
too
bit
fast.
more.
But
I can't tell which way you're scrolling. It's up at the top.
look at the gray bars at the top
There
when
it
you're
is.
scrolling.
Yeah.
Performance profiles.
So I built myself a basic profile. Now, in answer to the person who's asked, what about different power settings and stuff like that from the POH? I'll be straight up. I live at 75%. I want to get to where I'm going. Okay. So I plugged in the numbers directly from the POH. Yeah, I'm going to go 163 knots, blah, blah, blah. The 8 gallons an hour was kind of an intelligent wag, I'll be honest with you. But cruise 15.2, da-da. If I wanted to say go to 55% power, I would just add another basic profile and set that up for my.
And can you back up? I know you went to it quickly when we were flipping around, and I'm sure someone just go back out of that, the first page of the aircraft. Where do you go? So I see that heading that says performance.
Right.
And that's what you tapped on to get to the performance profiles.
Right.
And I know that is also a function of which subscription plan you have as well as to whether or not you can get the pre-made profiles.
Right. So I would, in this one where it says unnamed profile, if I wanted this to be 55% power, I would just say November 249 Whiskey Hotel -55 or something like that to differentiate it, and just fill in all the blanks for that. And then I'd have my 55% profile.
Yeah, if you tap on the unnamed profile there, at the top there, you got profile name. You can make it say whatever you want it to say. So you can make one that says 55%. So type that in.
Yep.
No, just 55% is all you need.
Okay, yeah, either way. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So now done, go back.
Yep.
And now you got a profile that says 55%.
Yeah.
So
But
this also works for a lot of airplanes I see it comes with pre-packaged, pre-created profiles, but there's no ability to edit that or even to see what settings they've used.
Yeah.
So I've got a 182 with an oddball engine in it. So I create my own custom profile to match my airplane over and
Exactly.
above the ones that come with ForeFlight or come with that airplane.
2203 Tango is an airplane I train in or teach in, and basically there's 4 performance profiles available from ForeFlight. So there we are for flight planning purposes.
All right, we got 15 more minutes. I'm going to get to the giveaways
That's all
soon.
good. So that's
Anything
all
else?
good to it. For those of you with the 206, with the older 206s and so on, it's a great review of your manual.
Yeah, go through your manual and build it in here, and Bob's happy to help you with that. No, thanks for that, Bob. That's obviously a very good idea to build. When you have a unique airplane, I had several people I've helped work through that process and making a unique profile for yourself as well.
Right.
We have so many FAQs. I mean, we've only gotten through about maybe not even a third of them. We could do one of these every other month, and maybe we should. I'd like to get to more, but I got my alarms going off. We got a few more minutes, so I'd like to get to the giveaways. We'll do that, and we'll do another one of these, and we'll pick it up. I think the next month, I'd like to try a parallel with the Zoom. All you got to do is it's going to be theproficientpilot.com/live. You go to that website and you're going to have a real clean, real crisp, because it's buffering. In other words, what's going to you is going to be about 30 to 45 seconds behind real time. And I think we're going to be able to migrate away from Zoom, and everything's going to be a lot better. We'll have a chat, we'll have a Q&A. The chat will be a lot easier to hide and not get in the way. There will be a lot of advantages to it. It won't be the Zoom but I think it's going to be pretty simple. So watch our website for that. We'll send out emails for that as well.
Mention that all the questions that you guys, that everybody's written up tonight here that we haven't answered, we're saving all those, and that becomes the fodder for future Q&A sessions.
Right. This is all being recorded. So, we're saving all your questions. And if it feels like you've been ignored, trust me, I just sent an email to someone who sent me one months ago, and I finally got to it. We will get to it. I promise. They're all being memorialized. So let's go ahead and do some of the giveaways here. Mike, I can see the list, so I'll read off of that. The first thing we have is for Gold Seal Ground School, private or instrument ground school. We got 2 of them we're going to give away, and you can choose whether you want the private or ground school lifetime subscription to either one of them. And the first one is going to go to Kevin Healy. Congratulations. You can use it. You can gift it to someone else. I recommend, if you're already instrument rated, it's a great review. So congratulations on that. The second one is going to go to Krista LaRussa. Thank you for attending, but congratulations on winning that as well. The Gold Seal animations, their graphics are wonderful. We showed some of that in the beginning. I meant to have it on this slide here as well, and I'd like to I could share that with you all day long. Those guys put together some really neat stuff. A graphic is worth 1,000 words. So if you'd rather watch a 10-second video than read a 10-page chapter, you'll get it with their videos. So I really do appreciate those guys for donating these to us. Also, we're going to give away our time, because I think that one thing that has been very popular is that, there's no better gift. I can't afford to give you a headset or give you cash, but I can give you an hour of my time, and I'd like to do that. So for 1 hour of ground school, it can be we'll do it via Zoom, and it can be on ForeFlight, or really, if you're working on your private, you want some oral prep, any kind of ground school you want, 1 hour of it. And that goes to, for me, Tracy Hardy. You got 1 hour with me via Zoom for any kind of ground school that you'd want. If you want to go over ForeFlight, we can do that. Mike has also been kind enough to donate an hour of his time for 1 hour ground school as well. And the winner of that is Larry Erdman. Congratulations on winning that. We will reach out to you guys on the email address you registered on, so you'll hear from us sometime tomorrow or the next day on your prizes. The other thing we have is a 1-year membership to NAFI. That's going to give you your discount on all kinds of things. In fact, if you're about to buy a Lightspeed Delta Zulu headset, I believe that being a member, you get $600 off of that. Our discounts, while they're wonderful from NAFI, are an advantage. other intrinsic value of being a member is, hey, if you're trying to go to the airlines, that's a good thing for your resume. But you're going to get access to our professional development course, all kinds of wonderful things, not to mention the savings. But if you're going to be a flight instructor, we have a lot of great tools to help you instruct. If you're not an instructor, then you'll get the secrets behind what the instructors are getting. So the winner of 1 year membership to NAFI is Amanda Slater. Congratulations on that. If you're already a member, you'll get an extra year tacked onto that. The other thing, let's see, I put a picture of my invoice on there. There's my discount. So it cost me $49 to save $153. In any event, another great ground school app, and I love this. Jason Miller's put together the finer points. I've been listening to his podcast, since before there was YouTube, I think. He's been teaching and putting out awesome educational content via podcasts, and now he's got the Finer Points ground school app, which includes private and instrument. It's actually really cool. And if I just got to show this real quick, since we have a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and share. I don't know if I can do it with it plugged in like this, but I wanted to show on my iPad the ground school app. 1 minute, advanced. Yeah, here's my alarm. So
that's 2 alarms now.
Yep, that's the next one. So let me
2 alarm fire.
Get my iPad on the screen here. I've got the ground school app, is the Finer Points ground school app. It looks like this. He's got videos of when he was flying. He shows you like you're in the airplane watching him do stuff, and he's done a great job with that. One of the things they recently added, which I think is really cool, into their resources page is the new ACS. A lot of people have been complaining about the formatting. Well, he's changed it so that, a new page starts a new task like it used to be before. It's very cool, a lot easier to read. He's going to do that for the instrument as well, but he's got access to all of these documents. In fact, if you don't even have the ground school or use it, you can download the app, and you have access to all of these documents, including the formatted ACS, just by going to the app and then clicking on resources down here, and you can download that. I think he does a wonderful job explaining things in a very simple, easy to understand way. I like the ground school when he shows you how to do something. That's the first stage of teaching as well. So A.W. Pickle, congratulations on winning that. And we got 2 more things to give away, and then we're going to say goodnight. We've got the Ultimate Pilot Logbook, and this is my screen showing? I can't tell. Oh, okay,
No.
cool. Yeah.
Well, we got the giveaways PowerPoint
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, good. So I wanted to show a little bit from this logbook. We've talked about it, but it's really got every column you need, including, like, if you look at instrument, it's got simulated instrument approaches, holds, a lot easier to log that if you're trying to maintain currency. It's got cross-country, PIC, solo, and dual, anything over 50 miles. It's got a lot of the columns that I had to write in there, plus a couple extras, like I would put tail dragger here, and I know Mike would probably put ultralight, Bob lighter than air. Anyway, so it's customizable like that. Also, I wanted to point out that in the back, there's actually you flip back and there's a flight simulator logbook, so you can actually keep track of all that time that does count in the FAA approved ATDs. And so there's a section for that. And in the back, there's actually a ground school log, so instructors can sign off the different sections, the different actual lessons that were given, the time, a CFI signature, and on. So it's all in there already. It's actually kind of like a syllabus, and it's for several different certificates and ratings. Also, the endorsements are all in there, of course, like a lot of them have, but this is laid out in a very organized fashion. And so I'd like to give that congratulations to Lloyd West. You are the winner of an Ultimate Pilot Logbook, and you guys can go on to ultimatepilot.logbook.com and check them out for yourself. Highly recommend. I'm using it myself. Lastly, my favorite flight instructor, because he used to pay my bills and he put me through college. His new book, he's donating an illustrated guide to flying is his latest. He wrote the Golden Guide to Flying, which was actually, I have one here. I can't reach it, years ago. And this is kind of a remake of that, modernizing it, lots of great pictures. This is an awesome gift for somebody who's thinking about learning to fly. You want to motivate a kid to get into aviation, or anybody for that matter. This is a great book with lots of pictures, and I took a few that are in there as well. In any event, The book is autographed. He'll sign it to you. He's donating it. The winner of that book is Kenneth Lohr, if I pronounced that correctly. Congratulations. We will send an email to all you guys for winning. Thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate you coming and joining us and bearing with our problems. I know that we've kind of got a few minutes left over. I'll let everybody pop on here and say goodbye. Bear in mind before we do that everything messaging, and if you want to keep tabs on where we're going, go to ForeFlightWorkshops.com. You'll see the information for the new format that we're going to be using. Also, if you're here right now and you see this, you're going to be getting Wings credit automatically. Give me a few days to do it. It usually bogs down the FAA computer when we upload all our Wings credits, but we're going to do it. In any event, next month, we are actually going to have some people from ForeFlight joining us. They want to tell us about some exciting new things they're doing and talk to you guys. So that'll be on the second Monday in July, not the first Monday. So it's going to be July 8th. Give us a little spacing after the holiday. And second Monday in July, same time. We will probably run a parallel on the website, but watch our website for that. And we'll get on the information on our website for how to join it at that time. Again, we appreciate your donations. I really do. I'm thankful to you guys for doing that and helping us out. And again, anything above and beyond goes to a needy cause. Guys, thank you guys for joining, for helping in the background. James, I can just hear your keyboard, and it's probably smoking by now. The number, when I look at the reports and I see how many questions we answer, it's quite amazing. And that alone may be the best part of this. And just mute us and turn the screen off and get in the chat and ask some questions. There is a way to turn the chat off because every month we get a lot of complaints. Hey, the chat's distracting. Can you turn it off? That's on you. It's on your end. But the new format's going to be a lot easier. So anything else, guys, before we end this and say goodnight?
I'm
I
good.
think that was a great collection of questions to get started with, and I think there's a need for doing a more open-ended Q&A kind of a thing. So let's keep that up.
Yeah, definitely. I see many of them. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next month on July 8th. Have a great night.
Have a great 4th of July, everybody. Be safe.
Too.